guys, Nicole Scott here, and today we're going to be talking about Credit Repair Cloud. So they just came out with an update, Credit Repair Cloud 2.0, and guys, I must say I'm pretty impressed. I am a Credit Repair Cloud user, and in today's video, we're going to be actually going over how you are to remove a consumer statement from the credit profile. Now, a lot of people don't talk about the consumer statement, but in this video, we're talking about it. So if you've ever gotten credit repair in the past, chances are you might have a fraud alert on your credit report. Not saying that you've been a victim of fraud, but simply you've used maybe the word fraud in some letters that were sent to the credit bureaus on your behalf, or maybe you just asked to speak to the fraud department, but you want to check your credit report. So on your credit report, no matter what credit monitoring company you're using, whether that be Smart Credit, Identity IQ, I highly recommend Smart Credit. It gives you 3 bureau report side by side. Now, once you get those reports, you want to look at the consumer statement. So I'm going to give you guys an example here. So guys, this is a client that I've been working with. As you can see, we're using Identity IQ for this client. The credit scores are great, but guess what? The client is getting declined for things. So if you are getting declined for things and you're not sure why, it might be due to the fact that you have a consumer statement on your credit report. So when you are logged into your credit monitoring application, you want to view your credit report. Now, once you view the credit report, there is an area right at the top. Now, this is with Identity IQ. This example is with Identity IQ. There is a consumer or customer right here. It says customer statement. Now, on this customer statement, it says right here, fraud victim. Now, the client is having a really hard time because guess what? There is a fraud alert on the client's credit report, but guess what? There's no telephone number to be able to call the client to verify that they were in fact the one that applied for that credit product. So when that happens, the companies are going to have a really hard time. You're pretty much going to get denied. So this is a huge reason why people get declined. So basically what you want to do is get your credit reports. No matter where you get your credit reports, you want to look for the consumer statement, the customer statement, any sort of statement, consumer statement area on your credit report, you want to look for that. Now, here's a prime example just with Equifax. So we want to try to get this removed off of the credit because the client is having such issues with it. Now, the fastest way to do that would be to call the credit bureaus. Call them over the phone. Let them know you want to remove your consumer statement. I would like to remove my consumer statement you have listed on my credit report. I would like to remove my customer statement you have listed on my credit report. Keep it very simple. When you first get someone on the line, ask to be transferred to the fraud department. They are the ones that can help you get these things corrected. Now, I have had the situation where clients have had to send in additional documentation because when you're dealing with fraud, they want to make sure that they are in fact dealing with the right person. So oftentimes you're going to have to send in a letter and proof documents proving you are who you say you are. So a simple letter. Hi, credit bureau. My name is this. Please remove all consumer statements from my credit profile. I have attached proof of identity, photo ID, state driver's license, front and back. I have attached my social security card for you to understand I am who I say I am. I have also attached proof of residency, any sort of bill, utility bill, bank statement bill, just the top portion that has your name and address, your correct name and your correct address. Now, you definitely want to make sure that you send the proof of address, especially if your address on your driver's license is not accurate. So you want to make sure you send those 3 documents in with your letter to the credit bureau that you are attempting to get this removed from. So in today's video, we're actually going to be showing you how to do that. Okay, so let's get straight to it. Today's going to be a very quick video because I just wanted to provide you guys with some value before my next call. So here we are in Credit Repair Cloud 2.0. As you notice, it does look very different than what it did before. If you do use Credit Repair Cloud or you don't, either way, you can use this same information and apply it to how you are doing it. So if you are not using Credit Repair Cloud, I recommend Microsoft Office. You can use Microsoft Word. You can sign up for Office 365, which is an online platform, and you can use the Microsoft Word application as your letter maker. So you can use that as well. So when you're using a software to help you automate the process, we're going to go ahead and go to the clients tab, and we're going to find our client that we are working on. And for those of you that are doing this yourselves, you can really copy and paste the information directly from your credit report right into your letter. So we're going to open up the client's file, and we're going to head over to generate some letters. And when you're in their new system now, you can go to the tab where it says generate letters. You can also hit run dispute wizard right over here. So we're going to go ahead and hit run dispute wizard. And we're going to select round 2 or higher, because we always select round 2. Who is the letter going to, the credit bureau or the creditor? And then we're going to select, in this case, you can select add pending items and just use the personal information. Or if you wanted to add a new dispute item, you can add that in. And in this case, we are going to add a new dispute item in, and it's just to Equifax because the other credit bureaus do not have anything listed for this particular client. Now, this is going to be the same information for all the bureaus essentially, and we're going to just put remove consumer statement, and we're going to select our reason. And in your reasons, you can always add more reasons. You can add those up into your company tab up here, but we want to keep our reasons very simple, direct, to the point. Okay. In this case, I'm just going to typically have a reason for pretty much everything. Here it is. Please delete consumer statement. Okay, so that's the reason why we're sending this dispute letter. And then our instruction would just be to remove it from our credit report. And that's just please delete immediately and confirm in writing. You can write as something as simple as that. Okay, please delete immediately. You can also add a new instruction if you wanted to. And again, guys, if you wanted to add your reasons and instructions, custom reasons and instructions for you to use at a later time, you want to go into the My Company tab where you can adjust all of those. So we're going to go ahead and hit save. And now this is just going to Equifax because that's the only bureau that we're really having a problem with. And the good thing about Equifax is you can fax to Equifax. So a faster way to get your dispute letters submitted to Equifax is by faxing. And in today's video, we're going to show you how to do just that. So we're going to hit save and continue. Now we're going to select the letter category. So this is going to be credit bureau letters, and you can adjust your letters in your letter library up here. The library, that's where all of your letters are going to be. Okay. So we actually have imported a letter specifically for removing a consumer personal statement. And you'll notice that all of our letters that we use most frequently have an A1 in front of them. So they pop up at the top of the list. That helps us decipher our top letters versus some of these letters that are in here that everyone else is using. We always recommend using custom letters, custom reasons, custom everything. You don't ever want to use what everyone else is using. Okay. So write it out, and then you can use that for your clients. So we're going to remove the consumer personal statement. Okay. You can say remove consumer personal statement or remove customer personal statement. The bottom line is it's your personal statement. Okay. We're going to hit next, and this will generate the letter for us. Now, so if you are using Microsoft Office, basically you would just pull up a blank Microsoft Word document, and you can literally use the information that's on your credit report, and you can say, copy this. Okay. And just put Dear Equifax, I have a consumer statement listed on my credit report. I did not authorize, and I need it removed immediately. The consumer statement listed current, I want it removed. So what I always do is send them proof. Like, here is how it looks. And you can even send them a screenshot just to prove, hey, look, this is what my credit bureau looks like, or all three, and you're the only one reporting it. So I want it removed. I want it removed. Please confirm to the following address, and then list after your address. Thanks, your name. It's that easy. Okay. Because they're going to want something from you in writing. Chances are you might get someone who will do it over the phone, but chances are they're going to want you to send them something to prove who you are, especially when it's something like this. So we can fax it. That's the good thing about this. So you would just, with this letter, attach your driver's license. I always do front and back, social security card, and proof of address. So this is Microsoft Office. They also have Microsoft Office 365 that you can use, which is an online version of Microsoft Office. You can also use Google Docs to keep you organized. Make you a Google folder on your Google Drive and create some Google Docs and write it out in there. You can also copy and paste from your credit report into there. So that is that. So we're going to get back to the automation here. And basically in this letter, it's just, I always say use different fonts, format it differently. Do not be very different. You want to be different. Bold things out, underline things, indent things, format it differently. You want to be different. Okay. You can save these pre-formatted letters in Credit Repair Cloud so you can use those custom letters for your clients. Okay. So this is to the credit bureau. It has the date. I have all this stuff pre-populated in my letter library with the correct tabs. So everything populates for the client. Okay. Please note, I often travel for work. I'm very busy and I've spent much time trying to get this corrected with you. You can add additional information in here if you wanted, but I like to keep things brief. This has 3 requests. Please unlock, unfreeze my credit file. I have complaints from creditors stating my credit file is not accessible and I am being denied credit because of this. Okay. Because it is. They can't verify who the client is. There's no telephone number on file. In this case, what we're going to do is going to put the correct telephone number for this client, because right now there's absolutely no phone number on file. So if they are applying for anything, they're going to get denied. And it's very hard when you have these fraud alerts on your credit. So if you are being denied for something, go to your credit report and you can get your 3 bureau credit report with Smart Credit. Go to smartcredit.com/Bay Area. We also have the link below where you can get your credit reports from Smart Credit and look at your consumer statement to see if there's anything on there. And if there is something on there, we want to get it removed because it's not going to help you. And if you are worried about it, continue to have credit monitoring. You'll get notified every time your credit is being ran. So that'll give you, definitely an alert if someone is attempting to use your credit. And then you can always freeze it if you want to do that as well. Okay, so this is, we put in the phone number for the client because, again, if there's no correct phone number, creditors really aren't going to be able to verify that you are the one authorizing this account. So it just goes in to say the amount of identity theft going on. I am fearful that someone could mistake me as someone else with this correct information on my credit report. In that case, I'm actually going to remove that because I don't want them to even consider leaving any type of statement on there. Less is better. Okay. I did take the opportunity to update all of the personal information in this letter since we are writing the bureaus to remove the consumer statement. I might as well update the personal information in the report as well, which is very important. You only want to have one name, one address, correct birthday, any old employers you want taken off, any old outdated names or addresses you want taken off, unless those names are like you got married and they're still very relevant. But a lot of people have misspelled names, misspelled addresses, formatted incorrectly, parents, friends' addresses listed on their credit. So, it can really range. You definitely want to make sure all of your personal information is correct. So I'm just saying here, for the love of God, please correct my personal information, and gave them clients' personal information. Again, you want to use the address that receiving mail at, and you can easily access. Some people use virtual address, which you can do that as well. Don't use a PO box. You need to use a virtual address. So I know a lot of places that offer virtual residential addresses and virtual business addresses. So you definitely want to use a virtual address, not a PO box when you're doing this. And you definitely want to send proof that that address belongs to you, bank statement, Many people do use virtual addresses with banks, so that would be good. And then I just put a little bit of the Fair Credit Reporting Act in here under 15 USC Code 1681I, which is the procedure in case of disputed accuracy. You're required to promptly delete all information which cannot be verified as accurate. And I understand that per the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you are required to notify me of your investigation results within 30 days. Okay. And I just like to include that in there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to save and continue to print. So in this case, we're just going to put consumer statement. This is our first attempt. So round one, abbreviation, you can put personal info, that's fine, or you can add an abbreviation to the master's list. And then you can create a task for you to follow up on 30 days or 15 days. And in this case, we always just kind of leave it to 30 days. We're going to save. And now the letter is saved. So now with Credit Repair Cloud, it's a little bit different because you can actually mail the letters directly from the software. So they give you the ability to use Lob to automate your mail, which is great. But for those of you that don't want to, you can still print them out. But in this case, what we're actually going to do is we're going to use Humble Fax to fax this request to Equifax so they can get it a little bit faster. What we want to do is we want to just select the letters that we're using. This is step one, where you're going to view the unprinted letters. You can also view all letters, but with Credit Repair Cloud, you can only actually send the letters automated that you've made from February 24, 2022 and on. So when they came out with their new updates, which was just recently. So we're going to go ahead and hit that next button. And we're just going to make sure that the client's photo ID, proof of address, and if we wanted to add any additional documentation, we could. But I always like to view everything, make sure that it looks right. So we got the proof of address here. We got the photo ID. In this case, we're only sending the front of the photo ID. But, you can always send front and back because that's just going to help them. They actually will scan. A lot of places will scan, especially like creditors will scan the back of your ID. So that is another way that they can verify who you are. So what we're going to do is hit view. Now, say you wanted to add some additional documents to this letter. Say you wanted to add like some proof documents, or you wanted to add something additional for the credit bureaus to consider. You would want to hit view, edit, and you can actually add files to this letter, which is great because this will allow you to add, if you want to upload screenshots, if you want to upload additional proof that you have, add a new document. It has to be a JPEG or a PNG. So you literally have to take a screenshot of whatever proof that you have. I use a screenshot application. I think it's called like Snip Pro. It's like a free screenshot app, and it can save it as a JPEG, which is the most popular, or a PNG. So you just click add files to this letter. This is a new program, so sometimes there might be some bugs. So as you can see, I clicked on add file to this letter, and it's a dead button right now, but the updates just came out. But there is another little button here that says add new document. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So in this case, we're going to open the social for the client. We're going to add that because, again, if you are removing a fraud alert, you need to send them a copy of your social security card. So when you're sending them a copy of your social and your driver's license, you need to make sure that the picture is clear. It is not blurry. It includes all four corners of the identification. I think that's pretty much it. That's all that we're going to update here. So I'm going to go ahead and just exit out of there. And then I'm going to click add file to this letter. So it's great now that you're able to add additional documents to the letter. Before, there wasn't really an option to do this unless you had documents uploaded to file and it like automatically attached to the letter. So it's great that you have that automation now, that we have this automation now, I should say. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. And now there is a Cloud Mail, which is of course now recommended, but it can be expensive. It's 80 cents to print and mail your letters. Well, it starts at 80 cents. And I want to say it's like 80 cents per I'm not sure page or how they exactly categorize it, but it says here standard is 80 cents each, and that's for black and white, but I'm not sure how many pages that actually includes. So mail can get really expensive, but sometimes, people, it's a timing thing, so they just want to get it done. And I have used this, so just to test it out, and it did work pretty well. So, it just depends on what your budget entails. We are going to be testing a little bit of both to see what gets a better response. In this case, we're actually going to be faxing it because that is a free way for you to send postage to the credit bureaus, and they are going to get it the fastest manner possible. So we're going to hit print locally, print on our own printer, and we're going to hit next. Now, how do we do that? How do we get this to the eFax? Great question. So we're going to download this as a PDF, okay? Now, you can also download it as a Microsoft Word document, but in this case, PDF is perfectly fine. And then when we scroll through the letter, this letter is actually 4 pages in total. So it actually looks like the ID and the proof of residency and the ID actually did not attach itself to the letter. So we're actually going to have to upload those. So what we'll have to do is just add those in manually when we fax them. So sometimes you do have to do that. And like I said, the new updates with Credit Repair Cloud are a little bit different, are going to take some getting used to for everyone. So what we're going to do is just hit the back button. So once you hit the back button, you'll be able to see all of the letters, and you can hit view unprinted or unsent letters, or you can view all letters, and we can actually select that letter here, and we can hit the next button, and then we can actually hit include ID documents on all letters, okay? All letters. So that way we can see that it's in there. So let's go ahead and view everything. We're going to render preview of letter and attachments to make sure that everything attached properly. Okay, so now we're good. We've got the proof of residency and we've got the ID that went on one page. So that's great. So that's the way that you can go back and ensure that everything is done for you, and you don't have to attach anything by going in and like downloading, because that's just a waste of time. So hit your back button if you need to. We're going to go ahead and hit the next button. And again, we're going to print locally because we're going to download it as a PDF. And then once you're at your preview letter area, what you're going to do is just make sure that everything looks good, and the ID or driver's license plus social card and proof of address are all attached to this letter. So we're going to go ahead and hit download as a PDF. We're going to save it. And then that's going to open your PDF in a separate browser tab. So this isn't exactly how we have the letter formatted. It's a different font and everything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the back button again, because hitting the back button will get you to the previous page with Credit Repair Cloud. That's the great thing about it. So what we're going to do is hit view, or actually view all letters, select the letter that we want, hit next, and we're going to make sure everything's attached. By doing that, you want to hit all letters, not just round one, but all letters. We're going to render a preview of our letter and attachments. Okay. We're going to print locally. Make sure everything's good. Okay, so see, Credit Repair Cloud is definitely having some glitches, and that happens when you have a new software out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use this letter that we have, because it says the same thing. It just is a different font, and a little of the format is different, but it has the same concept here. What this is probably the preview of the envelope or something that the system thought that we wanted on our letter, but we really don't. But it's not going to hurt anything. This is the return address. This is the address for the credit bureau, and it has everything else that we need here. So what we're going to do, once you have the preview letter open, you're going to go ahead and go to this little button right here. It's a little down arrow. Okay, it says download. If you hover over it, it says download. You want to download this file to your computer. Okay, download this file to your computer. So again, once you're in the print preview page, this is the preview letter area. We're going to go to the top right hand corner, and mind you, I'm using a MacBook Pro, so your computer might look a little different, but you want to just look for this little download button right here. It's a little arrow pointing down with an underline, and if you hover over it, it says download. You're going to click download. and then you can save it as whatever you want. So I'm just going to put the initials of the client and just put consumer statement. Okay, and you can select what folder you want it to go to. In this case, we're just going to use the downloads folder and hit save. Now you have just saved a copy of this letter to your computer, and we can now use that file to upload to HumbleFax and fax off for the client. Or, if you wanted to send this file to the client for them to print and mail out, that would work as well. I always recommend both. So you can fax it off for the client, or you could fax it off for yourself. And you can also mail off a copy just to ensure that they got everything. And I always recommend mailing it from the client's postal code, because they do pay attention to that. It's best for you to just send the document for the client print it out and send it from their address. If you are sending it out for the client, that's fine, but I would just mention something like, I often work, and I travel a lot, so that way they know why it's coming from a different postal code. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to log into HumbleFax, and we're going to send off a fax. Okay, so now we're inside of HumbleFax, and do keep in mind, guys, fax numbers often change. So it's always good to confirm the fax number with the credit bureau. Now, I just confirmed this fax number with Equifax recently, so I know that it works. So if you sign up for HumbleFax, it's literally $10 a month. It's unlimited faxing, e-faxing, and you can add different users. So if you have virtual assistants who help you, you can add those users to your HumbleFax account. And when you log in, you're going to go ahead and just compose a new fax. So right here, when you click in fax numbers, you'll be able to, I've added Equifax in my address book, but if you didn't, you could just type in the fax number, and you're going to go ahead and click right here where you can upload, and we're going to just put Equifax consumer statement, remove consumer statement, and just put for cover sheet, please see attached. And we're going to leave company information blank. We don't need to do that because it's all on the letter. If you wanted to preview it, you can certainly preview it. You don't have to send a cover sheet. If you do not want to, you can turn that off and not even send a cover sheet, which either way doesn't really make sense. We're going to go ahead and hit send fax, and it's going to say your fax is being sent. Okay. Perfect. So you'll be able to actually track the statuses of your fax. So right now it's saying, fax in progress, but you always want to go back and make sure that everything actually went through, it processed, because there's a lot of people faxing at the same time. So there's a chance that sometimes faxes don't go through. So you definitely want to confirm that receipt, that it was sent successfully, and be able to put notes into your file in regard to that. So you always want to document everything along the way. So now that we have done that for the client, we're going to go into the internal notes and we're going to document it. So if you're doing this for yourself, I highly recommend that you document all of the steps that you are making, so that way you can keep good record. What date you did it? What did you do? So here's an internal note. Faxed, actually sent e-fax with HumbleFax on 2/28/22 at 1:21 p.m. to request consumer statement be removed. And then if you wanted to attach the letter that you sent just as proof, attach that to the file, and I'm going to save it. So I'm also going to put attached request and proof docs sent. Okay, we're going to go ahead and hit save note. And then we're going to head back over to HumbleFax and see if it went through. It might take a little while, so just keep an eye on it, guys. But now, our job is pretty much done for this client. We sent in a dispute for him to request the consumer statement be removed from the credit profile. So again, my name is Nicole Scott. I appreciate you watching this video on how to remove your consumer statement from your credit report, because oftentimes people are getting denied and they don't know why. You can always ask why you've been denied. Sometimes they're saying, hey, we can't verify who you are. If they can't verify who you are, check your consumer statement. You probably have some sort of consumer statement on your profile. And oftentimes when you do have those consumer statements, the phone number is not listed or the phone number might be incorrect. But worst case scenario, if you can't get the consumer fraud removed for whatever reason, at least have your correct telephone number on there so they can call you. They can verify that you were the one that requested to have your credit ran. You authorized an account to be opened on your credit behalf. So just make sure that you understand what is listed on your credit report. Until next time, guys, I'm Nicole Scott. Take care.